hello everyone. So for this lesson, we are going to review arrays. Okay, so I hope you still remember how to work with arrays. So what is an array? So an array is a group of variables called elements containing values of the same type. Okay, a group of variables. So meaning it does not only contain one value, but many. So arrays in Java are objects. So they're considered reference types. Okay, so you can refer to it. No, so because they are objects. Okay, so you will soon see how to refer to arrays or naka-experience na mo, no? So based in your programming one. Okay, so the elements of an array, meaning ang kanang mga value nga nasa sulod ni array, can be either primitive types or reference types. Okay, so I hope you're already familiar what are the primitive types. And to refer to a particular element in an array, we specify the name of the reference of the array and the position number in the array. Okay, so ito ang name of the array and the position number of the element of the array. So the position number of the element is called the element's index or subscript. Okay, so ang katong kini siya, position number ni element sa atong array is what we call the index or subscript. So this one shows a graphical illustration of how arrays are stored in our memory disk, sa atong hard drive. Okay, once we execute our program. Okay, so this one is an array. Okay, so kini siya tanan, kini siya nga box is our memory. So we have 12 elements inside our array C. No, so the name of this array is C, and then naa siya 11 ka elements. And then each index, no, so our index is always starts from 0. Okay, no, so always remember that when in the context of programming, we always start counting from 0. Okay, so 0 to 11. So that means we have 12 elements. And each of these index, we have here our elements, okay, no? Or the values of each position. So we have position number 1, we have a negative 45 value. Position 1, we have 6. Position 2, we have 0. Position 3, we have 72, and so on. Okay, so these numbers are the subscript or the index. This is the name of the array and then the index. No, so if you want to refer to an array element, you just have to specify the name of the array and the position of the element in the array that you want to access. Okay, so this, if you can notice, the syntax is when you refer to an array element, it's called an array access. Okay, so if you can notice, the syntax is the position number or the index or the subscript is enclosed with a bracket. Okay, so an index must be a non-negative integer. So meaning it has to be 0. It has to be greater than or equal to 0. Okay, ang inyuhang index number. And a program can use an expression as an index. For example, so diri sa ato ang index, we are not limited to specify the number directly. No, nga 0 to siya, 1, or di na to siya kinahanglan i-specify na to siya directly. You can have arithmetic expression, no, nga kung sa ang result ani nga expression, that is the index nga iyahang i-return. So it has, and also dili dapat siya negative integer. Okay, so always remember it has to be greater than or equal to 0. But dili po siya pwede mulapas nga above na siya sa number of elements sa imong array. Let's say, for example, ngayon ka diri og 13, pero ang elements sa imong array is 12 lang. So, mulapas na po siya. Okay? This arithmetic expression as specifying your index or subscript through arithmetic expression is applicable, especially if you want the user to you want it to be user inputted, no? So kibali depende siya kung unsang element ang user inputted ang imuhang index, no? Si user ang magbuot kung kinsang element sa array iyang gusto i-access. Okay, so kibali di siya static. Okay, so it's dynamic. So adds 2 to array element C11. So let's say, for example, our A is, the value of A is 5 and the value of B is 6. So A plus B would yield to a value of 11. So meaning, gusto niya i-access si array element C in the position index 11. So that means, ang atong array C kay naman siya kay, kinsa man si C11, C78 iyahang i-return. Okay? So an index daw also must be an int value or a value of a type that can be promoted to int, namely byte, short, or char, but not long. Otherwise, a compilation error occurs. No? So, dili siya pwedeng a floating point number ang ato ang index. Okay? Dapat whole number siya. Okay, so, nasa car because, let's say, for example, your numbers, let's say, may kag 2, pero gitreat siya ni Java as character. So, you can just convert it to integer para mahimo siyang um, number. No? Di siya ma-read as character. Okay, so let's say, for example, we have here this expression, no? Sum is equal to C0 plus C1 plus C2. Okay, so what would be the value of sum here? Okay, remember, we have here the value. So, C0 to C2, iyahang gi-add. So, that would mean that negative 45 plus 6 plus 0. So, pila man na siya? It's negative 39. Okay, so iyahaning mo ni siya ang mga value ni C0, C1, and C2. Okay, so ito naman na. Okay, and also when looping, kung gusto ta na mo loop through the elements of the array, so we can use the C.length access, no? So si .length nga method will siya ang nag-hold kung pila kabuok number of elements ang sulod sa imong array. Okay, so you can hold it as a variable. No? So when you say the name of the array, dot, and then the length, it will return how many elements are there in your array. Okay, so let's say, for example, we also have this expression. No? X is equal to C6, C index 6 divided by 2. So, ito i-retrieve sa ang value nga naakang C index 6 then divide 2. C index 6 is 0 divided by 2. How much is that? It's 0. Okay, so how do we declare arrays? So, this is what we call as the array creation expression. Kaya kung paskasan na, review na siya. This is the array creation expression. So, ang iyahang syntax is we have here the data type and then the bracket. So the bracket can come right after the data type or right after the variable name, not the array name. Okay, so let's say, for example, we have here int, the brackets, open and close, the name of the array, and then new int. This means that you are creating a new object in integer type with 12 elements. Okay? So, pwede naman siya specify diri, pwede po dili. Okay, so, ang imuhang array size is mo na siya ang imong pila ka bulk elements yang kasigo sa iyaha, no? So, unsa siya kadako. Okay? So, when an array is created, each element of the array receives a default value 0. Okay, so let's say for example, kini gapaman na to siya gi-declare, no? So, once na create na nato ang array, si computer iyahang himuon is mag-create na din na siya or mag-assign na siya dito kang sa imong computer disk, sa imong memory, o space para anang array. Okay, so by default, ang sulod daw sa kada array element is 0. Okay? Unless imuha na siyang sudlan. Okay, so for the numeric type elements, and false for Boolean elements and null for references. So kung Boolean siyang type, kini, kung Boolean ni, by default, false ang tanan value sa imuhang array elements. If for references nga data type, let's say characters or string, so by default null ang iyahang sulod sa kada element. Okay? So this one, so pwede na mo siya ibulag ang duha. So when you say int c, this is the declaration statement of the array variable. And then if you nananing new int nga expression, this assign the array to a variable, no, nga inyo pong gi-declare. Okay? So in the declaration, the square brackets following the type indicate that C is a variable that will refer to an array. So kung wala ni siya brackets dere, dili ang pagsabot na ni Java is just an typical, no, nga int variables, dili siya ma-array. So always remember to put brackets when you intend to declare array variables. Okay. So, common programming error ba jud nang pag-declare sa ato ang array nga specifying the number of elements in the square brackets of the declaration is a syntax error. So, if you want to specify the size of your array, dapat siya after the new int keyword. The new keyword and then the data type and then brackets, then that is where you will specify the size of your array. Dili diri as sa permilo because that is an error. Okay. So let's go now to our examples. Okay. For a while. Okay, so I will have here my class array, and then I will save it as array.java. Okay, so of course, kinsa ang method nga permi pangitaon ni Java. It's our main method. Public void main. Okay, so let's say we want to create an integer array variable. Okay, so we have here the data type. Okay, so int, and then don't forget the brackets. Dili da among specify of pila ang size. And then the name of the array. Let's say we will name it array. Okay, and then, okay. So ako siyang i-separate um, to emphasize that there are two processes happening no within that line. Okay, so array is equal to new integer array, the brackets, and then what's the size of your array? So let's say it's 10. Okay? So kung ato ni siya is straight, auto na siya is straight. So inyong pagsabutan is it has to be together all the time. Okay, so dili siya because this is a different process and this is also a different process that Java executes. Okay, so that's why ito yun ako siya nga um, two lines. Okay, so let's say for example, ato siyang butangan, no? So di ba yung to by default ko no, ang mga numeric data type by default pila ilang value it's 0. Okay, so ang sulod karon sa atong array is puro 0. Okay, so let's try to print them. Index. Okay, I will show you how to another way of printing your character. Our index and the value. Okay, so pasabot ani, meaning this will be printed with 8 spaces before ni siya si value. Okay, so ang value ani nga first format, string format is index. And the second one is value with 8 spaces before this value will be printed. Okay? And then next is atong i-print ang ato ang array. Okay, so using the for loop. Okay, so ito ang first part. We have the initialization. Let's say int I is equal to 0. And the condition I is less than or equal to 10. 9. No, kay di ba ang ato ang index nato is starts from 0 man, no? So 0 to 9 ang ato ang mga index or subscript. So wala tay index nga 10. Okay? So as long or 9 atong ibutang or para mas flexible siya, pwede ta diri mo ingon og array dot length. Okay, so if that's the case, kung array dot length, dili na to siya butangan nag-equal. Kaya nga naman, pila man ang length sa atong array? It's 10. Okay, so dili dapat moabot ang atong index value to 10. So that's why less than lang siya. And then increment it by 1. Okay, and then we will now print it. So, pwede rin na siya walay curly brackets kung isa lang ka statement ang sulod sa imong for loop. Pero kung wala pa sa siya og one statement, meaning one line of code, kinahanglan niyo siya isulod og curly brackets. I print ln and then we will print the index, meaning the I, um, D, and then the value is ay, si XD. Okay. Wait na no. Okay, para parehas sila o space diri. Yan na, magtungod sila. Okay, let's say ato siyang butang space gamay. 5. This one also 5. So the value of this one, data format is our I. So our I here, our counter variable represents our index values. Okay, and then this one, si value, mo ni siya si atong array element. So the name of our array, and then the index, which is, ang atong index number gani diri, represent ni I. Okay, so oh, we have an error. Oy, na-double day ato ang public void sa ato ang main. Public void, public static. We have an error here. No suitable. It should be printf because we are using data formats. Okay, so dito siya pwede, dito pwede tayo mag-print ln, dapat printf. Okay, and then mag-insert lang po tayo ko. Next line. Okay, so wala na error. Main class array. Could not find. Mali ang akong pagka-file name. Array sa akong class, ang akong file name kay array. Okay, so be careful. Okay, so nara siya ang atuang output. Okay, so sa index, iyahalang i-print no, from 0 to 9 and then the value, kaya wala pa man tayo gibutang nga value. So, iyahang value is by default, kung numeric, ang sa gani is 0. Okay, so how about pili siya numeric? Okay, so let's say for example, this is a string array. Okay, and this one also, string. Okay, this one is S. One is S. Okay, so null siya because our string at data type is a reference data type, no? So, by default, sa tingin na null ang iyahang value. Kung boolean pod, it's false. Okay, so how can we, let's say, ato siyang butangan o value, no? Okay, so butangan na to siya og value ang ato ang array elements. Okay, so how can we do that? Asa na to siya butangan? Okay, no? So first, we will have here array I is equal to plus equal to 2. So we will just add 2 every time. Okay, pwede ba na siya? Possible. Ay, I will have to change. Di dapat na siya. Ato siya ibalik to int ha. Also it. Okay, so dapat ma-plusan siya og 2 every time mo iterate siya. Now we have to try error. Cannot find symbol I. Ay, okay. So, mo ni siya tagingan. Dapat naka-bracket na siya, no? Kaya 2 lines naman siya. Meaning, kinirayahang basa as part of the for loop statement. Kining ikaduha, wala na rin niya gibasa. Okay? So, kung dili mo um, mag-specify of curly brackets, so, ang first line lang after sa looping statement ang iyahang mabasa. Okay? So, dapat kung dapat kung mulapat na siya of more than one line, dapat naka-enclose na siya of curly braces. Pagayang wala na siya kailangan. Okay. Okay, errors make help us learn. Okay, so na 2. Wala lagi siya nagbasa. Okay. So, kay 2 lang man per me. 2 man siya, 0. Kaya wala matay na to siya na. Ay, wala matay na ako napakita siya. So, wait lang, ko yung share ang code.
Sarang supplier ni nagkali consumer mo nang kapag-isa kung fuman meet sa demand ng atong gusto ko na ang demand ng supply na naman.
Okay, so 2 lang iyahang na result, no? Kay always 0 man ang tanan natong value sa tanan elements. Okay. So, kung ato siyang gusto madugangan by 2, so we will put here I plus 2. No? So, para ma-by 2 siya. Okay, so we will execute this one. Okay, so para si I, so 0 plus 2, it's 2. 1 plus 2, it's 3. 2 plus 2 is 4. 3 plus 2 is 5, and so on. Okay, so that's just how you create and access array elements. So for questions, just comment it down below. So next lesson, we will proceed with the Java array lists.